I think it's time for a new EDC backpack. What's going on, everybody? It's Lamar with MF and Research. Thanks, everybody, for liking, for subscribing, for dropping comments. I appreciate all that. It really means a lot. I always thought it was corny when people say that, but it really is true. It's fun hearing from you guys, and it's fun hearing your recommendations. So please keep them coming. Please keep the likes coming, the subscribes coming, and please keep the comments coming. So now it's time for another episode of Gear Hunters. If you remember back when I was looking for my EDC pouch, I did the Gear Hunter approach. And what that is, for those that don't know, it's an approach where I take a house hunter's approach to finding EDC gear. So I'm not fortunate enough to have all the things. I'm not going to buy them all either. So what I'm going to do is walk you through basically my process and how some of the shopping that I do for an EDC bag. And I'll even show you right here. Here's the spreadsheet that I use to kind of help organize some of this stuff. Not going to really talk about a lot of those specs, but just know some numbers are involved, some spreadsheets, sometimes some ranking is involved too. But we're not going to get into that now. We're going to talk about the bags that maybe meet my needs for an EDC backpack. So let's talk about what those needs are. So first of all, it's got to be a clamshell opening. I'm looking for something to be somewhere between 20 and 25 liters. I feel like below 20 is too small, above 25 is too big, and it gets close to that travel backpack size. I really like good internal storage. That really means a lot. Yes, I have pouches and can use pouches, but I like, at least at a base level, some storage to help me organize my gear. I like the high vis liners. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bright orange, but that's a plus. Orange happens to be my favorite color, so if I can get my favorite color inside a bag, that's a plus. If at all possible, I'd love for the laptop compartment to be separate from the rest of the bag. A lot of times if I have like snacks and drinks and stuff like that for my kids, if something happens, I don't want to run the risk of destroying my laptop with the applesauce pack. So let's make sure that that doesn't happen. Normally, I'm looking for a bag that's in black, but I'm trying something a little different this time. I would like to, but it's not a deal breaker if it's a color other than black. That would be really nice. And ultimately, I don't want the bag to be too heavy. Since it's going to be my EDC bag, I don't want to have to lug a heavy bag around. So weight is also going to be an important factor to me. And also, as you saw in the title, if I can help it, I want to keep it under $200 if I can. So without further ado, let's jump on the screen and let's see what I got. All right, let's start off by talking about the VanQuest AdX. It comes in an 18 liter and a 25 liter. Since my goal is 20 to 25 liters, let's talk about the big boy and let's talk about the 25 liter. I know it's going to be great build quality because I know VanQuest products are pretty good. Looking at it, let's look at some of the pictures. It comes in different colors. It comes in you get black, you get multicam black, and I think there's like a blue or something like that. So I don't know if it's on this one, but there's also a blue colorway as well. So I think here's some of the different colorways. So there's that blue. So they don't even have a straight black. So that's interesting. But the main thing that really gets me about this particular bag is the interior. And let's look at that. So that organization is awesome. It looks like it would fit right along with my hub system and any other organization that I want to add. That's in the bottom of the front compartment, so that's good storage as well. There's another admin panel. The crazy part is all that back panel is looping, so you can have any kind of Velcro attachments, and they sell a ton of them to kind of mix and match this bag. You can have levels, you can have layers, and do kind of whatever you want to it. I personally prefer an external water bottle, but because this is on the larger side, internal water bottle isn't a big deal for me. So there's a separate laptop compartment, and it looks to be pretty spacious as well. It looks like it takes a pretty good advantage of the 25 liter. So I'm really digging that. And here's what it looks like on the body of a person. Looks kind of big, but it's still a good looking bag. So let's talk about some of the specs. Like I said, it's 25 liters. It comes in at about 2.7 pounds. Looking at the main price is $191, but that multicam black is $206. And I love multicam black, so I'd even consider bumping up my budget just a little bit just to grab that. But VanQuest always has coupons and discounts. So if I can find 10%, that'll bring that down under my $200 budget pretty easily. It's got that orange interior, like I said. It's got YKK zippers. There's a DWR coating on the outside that's going to give us some level of waterproofing, or not waterproofing, but water repelling. So that's a good thing. Not a big deal for me because I'm not going to have it in the rain too much, I anticipate. And if I do, I'll have an umbrella. But it's a good feature to have in case you get caught in an unexpected shower. So the last thing to talk about is that it's a 400D urban blend fabric. Not really sure what that means. For my motorcycle jacket purchases, I kind of have a good idea of what I'm looking for. So a lot of times, if it's some odd or unique name and it's not Cordura or anything like that, it's something that may not be to the same branding and standards as that. But Vanquest that makes pretty good stuff, pretty tough stuff. So it's pretty good. So I wouldn't consider needing the same denier that I would on a get off on the motorcycle. So with that, let's take a look at the next bag. All right, so next up is the Recycled Firefighter Battalion 24-hour pack. It's not really talked about that much, but it seems pretty solid. It's made in the USA and it looks like it kind of gives you a lot of those features of a Go Ruck, but for less money. So let's take a look at it. It's got a nice quick access opening on the front. You've got a spot for morale patches on the front too. That's pretty cool. I saw that high vis color peeking out, so that's a good thing too. There's my multicam black again, so that's pretty cool. Again, that high vis looks to be well made, and from what I understand, it's usually pretty beefy. Good storage, good organization. There is a separate laptop sleeve on the back, so that's good. Or we'll call it a laptop slide. One thing I will say about this one, as far as the organization goes, it looked to be somewhat basic, I'll say. So if you just want to stuff pouches in there, that may be your thing. I don't know. For me, I might want something with a little bit more organization, maybe some sort of admin panel, but you can always add that if you want. And for the price, it's not too bad. So yeah, just looking again, more colors, multicam black. You got different camo patterns. You've got oh, that's cool. So yeah, that's a good 360 of the bag. Looks pretty good. One thing I will say is it looks like you're subject to availability. So you might run into a situation where the color that you want isn't available, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So that would give me a little bit of hesitancy if I wanted a particular color. But if you don't care about the color, that's no big deal. One thing I did see looking at it, some of the interior colors seem to have high vis interiors, some don't. Not a deal breaker, but something to note. It's about 22 liters. I think it's 1.8 pounds, so that's nice on the size side. Not too big, not too small. Um, the backpack straps, let me go back to those for a minute. Not really sure how I feel about those. They look a little basic. They could be beefed up a little bit. And some of the ones that I've seen look better than this. And you'll see some of those on the list coming up. Some of the other things, talking about the zippers, they are number 10 YKK zipper. So that's a nice, good, beefy zipper. It's 1000D Cordura. So, like I was talking about the last bag, 1000D is bomb proof. Don't necessarily need it to be that strong, but it is kind of cool. And especially for the price to have that robust of a material, I really like that. It looks like it's made pretty well. Again, like I said, it's made in the USA and it does have a separate laptop compartment. So it does check a lot of boxes for me. Another added benefit is that you can also add a hydration bladder. So that's pretty cool too. If you want to do some ruck with that or take it out camping or hiking or something like that, you've got a water bladder that you can use. Or even for me, I'll when I'm riding, I'll take the backpack and put it on my back with the bladder and use it under my helmet when I'm riding my motorcycle. So that's cool too. And if I didn't say it before and you can see it now, it comes in right at 199. So that's still within my $200 budget. So that's cool. All right, let's see what's next. All right, so next up is the Mystery Ranch Urban Assault 24. That's for 24 liters. I've wanted one of these bags for a long time. That tri-zip design is just cool to me, and I thought it'd be something cool to try out. And now's one of those times to look into getting one of those bags. They come in at 179 bucks, so that's a great price. They come in about 5 different colors if they're in stock. My favorite that I would get would be the wood wax color. It's out of stock right here, but you can find it if you look hard enough. One thing I will point out though is we talked about high vis interiors. The hummus color, which is similar, has that nice orange interior, and that's cool. But when you go to the wood wax, it doesn't have that, and it's more of a gray. And that's okay, but just something to point out if you're like me and you like that bright interior. So let's talk about the bag a little bit. So, like I said, depending on the colorways, it can either be 165 to 179. I've seen coupons catching it under 150 sometimes. So sale price is pretty good. Looks like it's a good quality bag, especially coming in significantly lower than the other bags we've talked about so far. So that is great. You've got tons and tons and tons of organization. That tri-zip kind of gives you the best of both worlds from a top loader and a clamshell design. So it's not quite my clamshell, but it kind of cheats a little bit. So I'll let it slide. You can get through with that middle zip and get to all your contents in the bag. I think the storage compartment on the top, the quick access, is really big. You see all that organization on the back. The only concern that I have with that is if you have that bag loaded up and trying to get to something on the back, would it get a little cumbersome? It has essentially four water bottle pockets. So you see those two on the side, the water bottles can fit in there. And they also have it on the outside where there's a water bottle right there on each side. There is a separate laptop compartment, and that is a great thing. It's that zipper right there. That's where the laptop sits. And from what I understand, that harness system is amazing. All right, so talking about some of the dimensions on it, it's 2.6 pounds. Like I said before, it's 24 liters. It's in the name. It's 500D Cordura, so that's again good beefy material. That's about the sweet spot for me. That 500D gives me that level of robustness versus being overkill in some respects. So I like that. I like that it has good YKK zippers. Let's see what else we have. So yeah, here's just a look with that laptop compartment open. And then I give you a feel. I've shown you two of the colors. That's the blacked out. There's the gray. Let's see if we can get the interior with the gray. Doesn't look like they have a picture of that. And then they have a blue. So blue would probably be my second contender for a color. So if I were going to get one right now, it would be the wood waxed, then the blue, then maybe the hummus, then the gray, then the black. So good choices. Not a lot of choices when you think about like the Recycle Firefighter and the dozens of choices that they had, but 5 good choices is good enough for me. Let's see what's next. All right, alpaca's on here. Had to throw them on there. They're going to be one of my favorite brands with my hub pouch and my utility pouch. I love alpaca and it would be perfect for me for what I need. It is over my budget, but because it's alpaca, because they've got coupons and discounts and things like that, I'll cheat a little bit. And they've got multicam black. So they don't have a lot of colors. They only have a black and a multicam black. And they also have another pro backpack that just came out too, but we're not going to look at that one today. So when you look at it on his back, it looks real slim, like it tapers down to the bottom. So that's kind of cool. Let's look at the inside. The inside, I love that. You see those 3 straps? That's kind of where you integrate the hub system at. And I have that hub pouch. So when I take that off, I can put that right there, or I can put it right back here too. And there's plenty of spaces for that. And I can even get more. That looks like a nice tech pocket right there. So that'd be good for organization. So with the hub system, it kind of cheats a little bit on the organization and gives me an organization boost. So I am liking that idea. That orange is also pretty good too. It's the same orange that's in my utility pouch, and it's a nice blood red kind of orange. They've got a camera in that pocket. So again, tons of organization. So that's cool. They have a laptop compartment. It doesn't seem to be separate, but that's okay. That's not a deal breaker, but I really wish it were a separate zip to its own compartment. That's a quick access pocket on the front. They use their fit locks, of course, for the sternum strap. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, these Hyperlon pulls right here are able for you to put your hub strap as well. So that's a good thing too. It's got external water bottle holders. And now let's talk about some of the specs real quick, and then we'll get on to the next spec. So like I said, there's a black that comes in at $189. The multicam black is $219. So if I want to get this bag and stay under budget, I can go with the straight blacked out option. This is the first X-Pack bag on the list with the X50. So that's kind of cool too to incorporate that X-Pack. So it's got a good back paneling. It's 24 liters. It's 2.4 pounds. It's got YKK AquaGuard zippers. It's mostly waterproof from what I understand. And also what people talk about is the honeycomb shoulder pads. See if I can get you a picture of those too. Apparently, if you see them right there, they're unique from other things and they're comfortable. They feel weird at first from what I understand, but they should be pretty comfortable. So again, it's another alpaca product. It's got 680D on the bottom. So it's really beefy on the bottom. And that I can live with. That's where you're going to be slamming the bag on the ground and stuff like that. That's going to probably get the most wear and tear. So I think it's a pretty good bag. I wish it were a clamshell, but that's okay. So let's see what else we got. All right, next is what I call the Toyota Camry of backpacks. It looks really solid, but it also looks pretty basic. The colors are black, they're blue, and they're green. It comes in at 20 liters. I think there's a 24. No, there's a 20 liter, a 28 liter, and a 38 liter, depending on what you want to use this bag for. So if you want to use it for travel, you can use it for travel. If you want to use a small travel bag, you can. If you want to have a more large travel backpack, you can. But the 20 liter is where I'd stick for the EDC. So let's take a look at it as well. So it's got nice organization and good integration with the Bellroy pouches. The water bottle pocket is hidden, so that way it gives you that nice, clean, streamlined look. Kind of gives you that best of both worlds between internal and external water bottle pocket. So that's cool. You've got good organization. You've got good storage. Here's an example of some of the storage. The organization is a little basic for my liking, but it could still work with the right pouch system. It looks like they have their admin panel kind of on the front, which is cool too, and that works. They've got their cell phone and a key leash right there, so that's cool. Looks like there's another quick access on the top. It does have a clamshell opening. One of the things that is cool is the fabric is recycled, so it's environmentally friendly. If that's important to you, that's something to consider for this bag. It's a light color on the interior. It's not quite high vis, but it's close. Bright is better than an all blacked out interior. There's an area where they put their shoes. I'm really not going to put my shoes on the inside of my bag like that. If anything, I'm going to clip them to the outside. So carabiner space on the outside would be more beneficial to me and how I use a bag. Like I said, this bag is pretty cool. It's not $199. It's the lightest bag at 1.87 pounds, and it's right at 200 bucks. Like I said, there's 3 colors, and it looks like it checks all the blocks, and it's under 200 bucks. Let's keep going. All right, next up, we've got the Alpha 19er Whitley backpack. It's 20 liters. It's $199. It comes in black or multicam black. There's different materials. I think there's a VX42. There's a 500D multicam black. The regular 500D black hasn't been in stock in a while, but that's okay. And then they've got a 1050D ballistic nylon if you really want that beefy material. But for me, I'd either stick from the 500 multicam black or the VX42. That's kind of where I would stick. It does have a clamshell opening. We'll take a look at that. But first, let's look at the backpack straps. Looks pretty solid. Nice curve to those. Pretty slim and basic, or pretty minimally accessorized. So you don't have a lot of spots to clip things on. Like if you remember the Hyperline on the alpaca backpack, it doesn't have anything like that. It just looks like it just has the rails for the sternum strap. So that's something to keep in mind. One thing that I love about this bag is the bright orange and the admin panel. That admin panel looks amazing. What I understand, it's based on some of their other backpacks, and they just took that in here and tweaked it a little bit to fit this bag and made it work. So this is probably the best organization that I've seen so far on a bag. It's also a clamshell opening backpack. So that first zipper is for the admin panel, and then the second is for the main compartment. One thing that draws against this bag is that it doesn't have a separate laptop compartment, and I'm not a big fan of that, but it does have a good main entry, and that's good. And that it's got good organization. So one thing that it makes up for is organization. So let's look at some of the rest of the bag. So there's a quick access on the front right there. And then there's also 2 water bottle pockets. One of the complaints that I've seen on this bag is that the water bottle pockets are small, and I carry a 40-ounce water bottle, so that's something that I might have to take into consideration. And while it doesn't have a separate laptop compartment, it does cheat a little bit by that it has separate access for the laptop. Now, I thought they have a picture of that, but it doesn't look like they have a picture of that. So on there, right on the back, where they could have made it a separate laptop compartment, that's where you can access your laptop without opening the main clamshell opening. So that works, and that's not a bad idea. That's good execution. It's the heaviest bag so far, 3.25 pounds, and it comes in, depending on what you get, from 179 for the 500D all the way up to 199, depending on what you want. So this stays under budget even with the factors. They're on a huge variety of colors. So there's only black and multicam black, where you've seen some of the others where there's a multitude of colors. This one doesn't have that, but I like multicam black, so that's cool. They have a Fidlock sternum strap. They have YKK number 8 and YKK number 10 zipper. So I think the 8s are on the admin section, and I think the 10s are on the main section. So that works out. Nice, beefy, solid zippers, and it should work out perfectly. All right, this one I almost took off the list, but just because of the price and the number of colors, it had to stay. So if under 150 is your goal, this would be the bag to look at. And under 200 is my goal, so this is even lower. Lower is better. And they do have a multitude of colors. And while I am partial to multicam black, if I had to pick one on this one, it would probably be the tobacco canvas. Let's get a look at that. I just like that color for some reason, and I think it's going to break in a good little bit. If I didn't get that, I'd probably go with the olive canvas or one of the canvas for sure. And unfortunately, that brings the price up on those. So let's jump right into that. So whether you go for the nylon or the canvas, you're looking at a $10 premium, but it's still the cheapest bag by far. There are 17 different colors altogether, and that's cool. There is a Cordura nylon exterior, and there's like on some of the other bags on the bottom, they beefed it up with 1080D Cordura. However, they didn't mention what the denier is on the main pack, so that's something that may keep you worried. But if they're using 1080D, that's a backpack. I'm not sliding it down the street or anything like that. So if it's rugged enough, if it's a canvas, it should be all right. It's 21 liters. It's 2 pounds, so it's a good weight. It's a good volume. There is an admin panel on the front. There's a quick access at the top. I'm digging those two straps going down the front. You can use those for storage. I'm sure you can clip things too. Let's take a look at some of the other pictures on this guy and see what it looks like. So as I'm going up, you see some of the colors. If I remember correctly, some of the colors have the high vis interior and some don't. So yeah, that's that gray. Just whatever color tickles your fancy, you can have. Like I said, some of the colors are high vis, some of them aren't. Let's see if we can find any pictures of the inside. The harness system looks a little basic, but for the price, I mean, that's probably one of the areas where they cut corners. It's a 21-liter bag, so that shouldn't be too big of a deal, but it is something to consider when thinking about price. Do I want to spend the extra money for that better harness system? So that's something to keep into consideration. Looking at the interior, they've got that nice bright interior. There's no clamshell opening, and there is no separate laptop compartment. So that does kind of suck. But again, if you go with this bag, you know that you're getting a good bag for the price, and you are making some sacrifices compared to some of the other bags that are out there. The organization looks a little basic. The admin panel, they have some in the front, but it's not as detailed, especially like when you look at some of the other bags that we've seen previously. I'm not really sure about that water bottle pocket. I couldn't find anything on that. So I don't think it has a water bottle pocket, because I'm sure if it did, they would say something. So again, on the 20-liter pack, got to be mindful of your space if you put that water bottle on the inside. I'm sure with those straps on the front, you can find your way to clip your water bottle, so you could work around that some kind of way. So again, this isn't a bad bag, especially for the price. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it is made in the USA, Colorado, I believe. So that's pretty dope too. All right. So next up, I'm going to consider this probably the most technical bag on the list. It is over budget, unfortunately, but I had to include it because I love Black Ember products. What happens with them is I always end up going another direction. When I was going to get the Forge for the travel backpack, I ended up going with the Air travel backpack too. So I always have to give them a shot when I'm looking. They have this one in the 22 and the 26 liter. Again, I want 20 to 25. So we're going to roll with the 22, and it gets us closer to our $200 budget. This is another one of those that doesn't have a lot of colors. It only comes in black and multicam black. But again, multicam is my jam, so definitely would consider that. So this right here, let me see if I can get another picture of it from the front. They have their TKS sling, and they basically incorporate that into the bag. I'm going to see if I can find, oh, there it is. I see it. They incorporate their TKS sling compartments and storage methodology into the top of the bag. So that's either going to be amazing or it's going to suck. So if you don't conform to the way that's loaded, it's not going to work for you. But if it is, it's great. So if you're going to use it, I think if you're going to use it as solely a tech bag, I think it's going to work great for you. But for me, I use it more as a EDC bag. I use it as a kid carrying stuff bag. I use it for a variety of bags. So that may limit some of the flexibility. It doesn't have an external water bottle pocket, but it does have internal. And if you see on the corner over there, you can buy the accessories to strap a water bottle to your bag. Just like some of their other bags, the Citadel, and I can't remember what the other one's called, but they give you the opportunity to attach straps and give it a modular approach. So some of that DNA is still in this bag as well, but not as much. It opens flat. It doesn't have the same high vis interior as some of the other bags, but they call the interior the matte silver ripstop. So I'm sure it has ripstop material in there. So that's a good thing. It looks like on one side, you've got your tech organization, and the other side, you've got your internal organization, and everything kind of fits in between there. I kind of like that from a design perspective a little bit, but one of the things I'm missing is that center storage without kind of balancing things in there. So that's one of the things that concerns me on this bag. So let's look at some more of the pictures and just start from the top and work our way down. So again, that's that other shot of the storage. They've got quick access pockets. They've got a phone stored in there, so that's good. One thing I will say that they do pretty cool, and the next picture kind of shows that is their straps look beefy. They have hooks on them. You can do a lot with that. They also store on those panels. So those Velcro flaps come open. You can kind of store it and kind of clean that look up. So if you're traversing through the airport or something like that, it gives you a nice clean carry. So that's kind of cool too. And the straps look pretty solid. So as far as the material goes, it's called Cordura Recore. So it's a basic recycled Cordura. So that's kind of cool. It's 500D, so right in the area for where I'd like it to be. Not too beefy, but beefy enough to handle day-to-day life. One thing that's cool about this bag is the manufacturing is done with laser cuts and bonded seams. So that works. This bag, if I'm not mistaken, is completely waterproof. So if that's something that's important to you, that's something to consider. Right along the lines of some of the other bags, completely waterproof isn't a deal breaker, or it isn't a determining factor one way or the other, but it's a nice added bonus. They have mag lock hardware, so that's pretty cool, just like some of the other bags. It's the most technical. It's probably on the higher end of the cost, but it definitely looks like it's a good bag for the money. All right, so this guy is the Modern Dayfarer V2 backpack. I think it's an update, obviously, on the V1. It just came out not too long ago. When I first saw it, it was on that pre-release price, so it was a little bit cheaper, but it still fits my budget under 200 bucks. It's got a fit lock opening, and it kind of gives you a top loading slash side zip. So it's kind of along that same thinking of the Mystery Ranch, but instead of that tri-zip down the middle, it's got two zips on the side. So let's take a look at some of that and see what it looks like. So it does have a water bottle pocket on the exterior, so that is good. That's the other side. The straps, they look a little basic, but some of the other bags on the list have been basic too, so that's not a deal breaker. So that's that opening that I was talking about. So you've got your storage on the front, and we'll get a better picture of that here in a minute. That's a shoe compartment on the bottom. Like I said, I have the Air Travel Pack 2, and I do not like that at all. I'd rather not have that. I'd rather just take that out altogether. Air seems to agree with me because in the 3, they took that out altogether. This one does do a better job storing that than the Air does, but I still think it's a waste of space and could be used a little better. Again, the water bottle pocket, separate laptop compartment, so that is a good thing. Quick access pocket, passport pocket, that's cool. It's got a side carry handle, and those two grommets right there are for your shoes to keep the smelling out. So that's okay. They don't do a good job of giving you a good top down of the bag, but then looking at some of the reviews online, it opens up kind of clamshelled, or you can use the top loader style. There's decent organization, but it's kind of minimal. It's 840D ballistic nylon. Again, we talked about that a little while ago. That's ballistic nylon. So it's not as well known as a Cordura, but it is beefy enough, I think, for backpack use. So I think that's fine. It's got a water repellent coating, so it'll help shed that water off. So that's a good thing too. It's got YKK AquaGuard zippers. It is 24 liters and it's 2.2 pounds. One thing though, it only comes in black. Normally that's not a bad thing, but in this case, when I'm trying to branch out and have bags of different colors, I want to try something a little different this time. But it is a pretty dope pack. I am liking that fit lock. I am liking those clean lines on the outside. So there is that. And also for you guys, if you want to save a little money and get closer to that cargo bag, the V1 is still on sale for like 150 bucks. So that's something to keep an eye out for as well. But if you want the more recent, I'd consider the V2. And they've made some changes. So there's a couple videos out there comparing the V1 and V2. Take a look at those and see if that works out for you. So this is the Able Carry Daily Plus. I wasn't even going to put it on the list. The other Able Carry bags didn't make my price cut off, so I didn't add them. But this one, it seems to get glowing reviews from all the YouTubers out there, so I thought I'd add it. It comes in black and it comes in green. It just dropped not too long ago. It's not a clamshell opening, but the opening is pretty wide, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's got those same hidden water bottle pockets, so it's got that streamline like the Bellroy, so that's kind of cool too. I think it's 198 bucks. And if you see in the lower left-hand corner, they've always got 10% coupons on your first purchase. So that's going to knock about 20 bucks off of your price too. So that helps out on their first purchase and gets that cost a little lower for you. So like some of the other bags, this is kind of where everything happens. It's got your admin storage. It's got some pen storage. It's got your tablet storage. It's got your laptop storage. And like I said, it looks like you can get pretty far in the bag by opening it up. So it's not bad. Good storage across the board. It's 21 liters like some of the other packs. It's 2.6 pounds, and depending on what color you get will determine what type of X pack you get. So the black is VX21 and the green is VX22. One thing, since it is so new, it comes in and out of stock. So if this is the bag for you, or for me for that matter, you might want to jump on that pretty quick and not waste time. So the straps look pretty interesting. The back panel I hear is pretty comfortable. It looks pretty good. They've got tons of attachment points. So like I was saying, there are things I'd like to attach. So you see how they have the bike lock there? You can attach tons of things to this bag, and that's pretty cool. The admin panel on the front, it's got good storage for some of those quick access items. I do like that. So that's something to consider as well. Don't know why we're not getting pictures on some of these, but oh well. Got a quick access pocket, and that's pretty dope too. So overall, I think it's a good bag. It's a welcome addition. It's not quite the same as some of the other ones, but it's kind of like that curveball thrown in there. And I like that it was in there at the last minute. So it gives me something different to consider. And that is pretty cool. All right. So let's get to my favorite three. So before we do that, I've got one honorable mention this time, and that's the Air City Pack Pro in X Pack. It comes in at 235, so it's significantly out of the budget. So that's why I didn't add it. And at the size and design, it looks very similar to my Air Travel Pack. And so I don't want a whole bunch of the same looking kind of bags there. I want something a little different, but I did really like it. I thought about it for a long time, thought about getting it. It is X Pack. It does have the high vis interior. It's 24 liters. It's 2.5 pounds. It will be perfect. It has everything I need. But like I said, I want to try something different, and I wanted to stay in my price range if I could, or a little bit closer. And most of the bags get me pretty close on the list to that $200 budget, plus or minus maybe 15 bucks. This one's plus or minus 13 bucks. So that pretty much took it off the list. They did just drop their Pro collection. I haven't really looked at that much, so that may be something I consider in the future. All right, so now for my top three. Coming up first, in no particular order, is the Mystery Ranch Urban Assault 24, particularly in the wood wax color. I like wax canvas, and I like that colorway. Even though it's not high vis, that contrast is good enough for me. I like the tri-zip design. It is kind of unique. The harness system looks significant, so it looks like I can do different things with that bag if I want to. I can take it out for a full day, and it looks like it'll be pretty comfortable. The price is great, especially if I can find a coupon for it or some kind of discount code. That would bring it down pretty good, and that gets it down to that cargo and prices. So that's something definitely to consider as well. So I think that's probably the best value on the list to me, but I'm still not sure about that tri-zip design. So that's kind of the thing that I'm worried about on that one. So I have to decide between that and that internal storage. Do I think that's going to be a hindrance to me? So got to decide. Next up is the VanQuest AdAx. That bag seemed to be perfect. It looked a little big though, and that was a concern. Just the size of the bag on the person and the weight looks to be an issue. It is 25 liters, so that is something to consider. You've got a good bag that borders the line between one bag travel and EDC, but you can hold everything in there. You could almost have it to the point where instead of having multiple configurations like I would do with some of the other bags, I could just have all configurations in that bag and be done with it. So that is kind of cool. And the modularity and the quality of VanQuest products that I know is another plus. Definitely being able to add some of those Velcro panels in the back and change things. And I could change it for different scenarios. I could change it for different carry methods, for different carrying of things. And if I change my mind in the future, how I want to orient the bag, I could adjust it and have a lot of flexibility. I think it gives me the most flexibility in storage and organization, and that's pretty cool. One thing I will say though, it does kind of seem like it's not as stylish as some of the other bags. And the one bag that it seems a little less stylish than is the next bag on the list is the Alpha 19er Whitley. That bag, I love how it looks. The price is good. The materials look to be good. The build quality looks amazing. It looks a little, looking at the weight per the size, it looks a little heavy for what it is. So I am concerned about that. I wish there was something on the straps to hook things to, just because I strap carabiners and stuff like that to the front of my bag. So there's that. I am concerned about the water bottles. Like I said, I wish they were a little bigger. If they were, that'd be the thing. And the fact that it doesn't have a separate laptop compartment. Those small little things, man, keep it from being perfect. And I really wish that those little bitty changes would have happened and it would have been a top tier bag for me. I'll give you guys a few seconds to guess. Put it in the comments what bag you think I got. All right, without further ado, I decided to go was a difficult choice. I went back and forth for about a day on this one, and I ended up going with the Alpha 19er Whitley. It just looked the best to me. The styling spoke to me the most. Yes, as you see, it's in multicam black. The high vis interior is perfect. Loving everything about this bag. And it seems like it gives me the least amount of compromise for what I want, and the price was under 200 bucks. So definitely digging that. One of the things too, that admin panel, I think it gives me a lot of efficient storage and organization for an EDC bag. I think if I were using this for something else, it might not work out, but because I want it primarily as an EDC bag, I think it's going to be perfect. I've had it for a few weeks at this point. I'm going to give it a couple more weeks before I do a review of it, just to get my thoughts down on what I think about it. Got a few of my thoughts down, but I want to get a few more and just get a good feel in some different scenarios on that bag. So stay tuned for that in a couple weeks. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to the video. I really appreciate it. Man, these videos are doing way better than I anticipated. So that's great. Thanks to all of you. I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to hear from me. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I'm out.